Harold, how active are threats happening on SaaS as compared to, not on SaaS?
I think that there's definitely an increasing attack vector in these SaaS applications.
Is that just because so many businesses literally it essentially exist as a complete entity on a SaaS platform?
The SaaS spend is 3 times that of public cloud infrastructure.
Wow.
And yet, if you look at the amount of investment around security on public cloud infrastructure versus what's available for SaaS, it's an inverted risk model, really. You're spending 3 times the money with live active data in these applications, and you're doing virtually nothing to secure them. It's like buying a Bugatti and not insuring that car, and then insuring your Pinto or your Toyota.
This is where the data is. The majority of data is sitting on these huge platforms like Salesforce. So that's why the malicious hackers go there. Yes? It just seems like sort of common criminal sense.
Yeah, why not go where all the data is, right? And where there's actually, critical PII and other customer related information. And, we regularly find environments that have millions of exposed data records.
And how does that happen?
A lot of times it happens because people are customizing the application or building on top of it. And in the case of where they build on top of it, we often will see somebody exposes 3 fields for a partner portal. The API exposes the entire field and object schema underneath. In that type of scenario, the attack surface is wide open and people effectively can just people are just going to do a smash and grab operation and take the data.
So is AppOmni also sort of focus on an API security model as well?
We certainly look at APIs, but what is fundamentally different for us is that we're going to be looking at an API that is very specific to an organization's tenant. Whereas if you took a generic API security solution that's available in the market today and you pointed it at Salesforce, they're going to be like, oh, wow, yeah, there's an API open. It's like, yeah, there's an API open because it's open for 100,000 customers. But what about your API and what about how that's configured for your application in your given instance? And so that's where we kind of fundamentally differ.
Just give me an idea of the most common threats you're seeing in the SaaS space now.
If you look at GitHub, for example, there's a couple different ways to stream the audit logs. And if you're not using the right one, you're not going to get any of the events relevant to somebody making a clone of a repo or doing a mass download of source code, for example. And so that needs to be configured correctly. And then secondarily, even there's additional attribution and context around some of these events. And we've been working, very closely with a lot of organizations around analyzing these types of attacks and activity in their repos. And, if you just look for the event, you're oftentimes not getting any attribution. And for a DNR scenario or a SOC analyst, like that is a useless event. And so that's also a secondary step that needs to be enabled. And so those are definitely types of attacks that we're certainly seeing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Harold. If you want to learn more about how AppOmni is dealing with threats specifically in the SaaS space, then you need to check them out at appomni.com.